Hey guys, welcome back to NASCAR Talk. Today I'll be talking about some of the future for NASCAR, some playoff talk, and most importantly the Kansas race that took place this past Sunday. Hope you guys enjoy. First I'm going to talk about what happened at Kansas and how the racing was, how the cars raced, and was it an entertaining race? Now to start it off, it wasn't a very entertaining race. It wasn't blow your doors off like Bristol was this year. Bristol concrete, not dirt. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad. I wouldn't give it a golden star or anything, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Kansas, in my opinion, is one of the better mile and a halves. I don't know if Darlington's considered a mile and a half. Texas is probably the worst mile and a half. Las Vegas it's okay. I think Homestead is the best mile and a half. It provides a lot of good racing, but Kansas is it's pretty underrated in my opinion. I think it should have 2 dates on the schedule, at least one. I enjoyed it. I'd say it's a 75% out of 100%. It was pretty good. It wasn't spectacular, but it was pretty good. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Kansas as a whole and the race that took place there. It was pretty good, like I said. Now let's talk about what happened at Kansas. There's a lot to unpack here. I counted 4 out of 8 of the playoff drivers had issues. Now, 4 drivers were below the cut to start, that being Joey Logano being minus 43, Martin Truex Jr. minus, I believe, 22, Brad Keselowski minus 15, Chase Elliott minus 8. I believe those were the point standings going in. It's a lot closer now. I believe there's a driver minus 1. It's pretty close. Now, one thing I want to talk about is Brad Keselowski got into the wall, and he would not be the only driver to get into the wall. Now you might think, okay, 2 or 3, right? But no, 4, and they were all playoff drivers. It wasn't like tires were going down necessarily. It was drivers just hitting the wall, pushing too hard. Maybe just the outside wasn't as grip-filled as they thought it was. But Brad Keselowski, early on in the race, got into the wall right in front of Martin Truex Jr., another playoff driver who was also below the cut line, forcing him into the wall. So that's 2 drivers right off the bat getting into the wall. Brad Keselowski wouldn't really recover from this. Martin Truex Jr. wouldn't get any stage points either, I don't think, but he would have a decent finish. He would get closer to the cut line than he originally was. And then Kyle Busch, also early on, got into the wall as well. So it seemed to be that no driver was safe. Although there were a couple drivers who had a perfectly clean day, just had a good run. Kyle Larson is one of them. It seemed to be the Hendrick show early on. William Byron showed a lot of speed, even though he still wasn't even in the playoffs. He got eliminated in the round of 16. So William Byron had a good run, but Kyle Larson dominated the race. Won stage 1, I believe he won stage 2, went on to win the entire race. This would be his 9th win of the season, and this is a fact that blows my mind, but he was the first driver to win 3 races in a row, twice in one season, since Dale Earnhardt Sr. in, I believe, 1987. That just proves how huge of a year this is. Kevin Harvick won 8 races last year, but this is insane. I don't know how Kyle Larson is doing this. We'll see how he does in the next gen. I heard Roval tests he wasn't doing great, but we'll see. 2 final drivers I want to talk about got into the wall that were in the playoffs. One of which was affected pretty bad, that being Ryan Blaney. He got into the wall so hard that he was eventually taken out of the race. Yet it wasn't necessarily his fault. Austin Dillon slid up the racetrack trying to save the race car, got into Ryan Blaney, and Ryan hit the wall pretty hard, ending his day. Now, I believe he was around plus 30 when this happened, maybe plus 16. Now he's minus 1 point. So it's going to be interesting to see what Ryan Blaney can do at Martinsville. I think statistically it's not a great track for him. I hope to see him make it to the championship 4. I have drivers I'd like to see make it, but Ryan Blaney is a driver I'd like to see go on and battle for the championship in the championship 4. That leads us to Martinsville next week, or this coming Sunday. It's not looking good for Blaney in my opinion. He's minus 1. You might think, oh, that's fine. Yeah, minus 1 is fine. It's not great. You don't want to be below the cut line, but it's Ryan Blaney we're talking about here. You never want to be below the cut line if you're Ryan Blaney because he's not too consistent, but then when you say that it's Martinsville, he's not great at Martinsville. from what I can tell, so I'm a little concerned for Blaney. As for Martin Truex Jr., who is -3, I'm going to say he makes it. -3 is not much for Martin, and it's Martinsville, so he's won there in the past, so I'm going to say that he makes it. As for Joey and Keselowski, I don't think Joey makes it. Brad, -6. He's got a shot. He's good at Martinsville. The one Martinsville race I went to, he won, so I think he can make it. The only driver I'm going to go ahead and say isn't going to make it is Joey Logano. Who knows, maybe he could win at Martinsville, but I'm going to go ahead and say he doesn't. Kyle Busch, +1. It's Martinsville, which he's good at, so I think if he can put up a solid performance, I think he can make it. But if he has another mediocre race like he seemed to have this season, runs around 13th, gets 9th at the end of the day, that isn't going to cut it. We're talking about the top 4 drivers make it. 9th, last time I checked, isn't inside the top 4. He needs to have a good run. I'm not saying he needs to finish top 4, but at the same time, I think he kind of does. Or at least top 4 amongst the playoff drivers. One thing I think people didn't really point out much is Joey Logano's pit strategy. I thought it was not great, but I thought it was kind of interesting how he was already willing to take risks when so many drivers took damage at Kansas. Some had already taken damage and were having a bad day when he did the pit strategy. I just thought I'd point out Joey Logano already making moves that maybe were unexpected. Okay, I just want to briefly talk about the future for NASCAR and mile-and-a-halves. I think a lot of people hate Texas. I don't like Texas. I wouldn't care if it, well, I would care if it got removed from the schedule. I would be happy if it got removed from the schedule. Or maybe like the All-Star race and only the All-Star race. I think that would actually be good. A kind of meh track. If they really want it, then put it in a race that doesn't count for points. And then you got Kansas, like I said, a pretty good mile-and-a-half, but it isn't incredible. Las Vegas, same thing, maybe a little worse, but I still think not incredible. Homestead, Miami, really cool. I think Nashville is a mile-and-a-half. If it is, then that's new to the schedule. Keep it. I liked watching the race there. So I think mile-and-a-halves have a place in NASCAR, but NASCAR is headed towards short tracks, which I love short tracks. I've only been to one track that isn't a short track. I've been to Dover, which I thought was an amazing race. I've been to Martinsville, which I thought was an amazing race. And I've been to Bristol, which guess what? I thought it was an amazing race. Short tracks have a special place in NASCAR, and I think are the best type of track that NASCAR races on. Super speedways are a lot of fun to watch, and I think that NASCAR wants super speedways, short tracks, and road courses. Those are the 3 things NASCAR wants on its schedule. I think that that the next gen will drive good at short tracks. If it's good on road courses, which road courses have heavy braking zones, quick accelerations, guess what? That's Martinsville. Bristol, not as much, but still, if there's going to be a track with decent braking zones and big acceleration, I'd say Bristol would fall into that category. Dover, maybe not as much, still a short track. Richmond, that's a track that the next gen will probably handle well at. So short tracks, I think, will forever have a home in NASCAR. I hope they bring on more Worldwide Technology Raceway. I love that track. It is so quirky and weird. I think it's going to be amazing. The truck race was pretty good. Sure, there was a little bit of carnage, but I think it was amazing. I can't wait to see the Cup guys race there. It's a mixture between a kind of a weird mile-and-a-half and a short track. I think that that'll stick, and I love that that track is coming to the schedule. Road courses. I'm not their biggest supporter. I think NASCAR's ovals, there's Formula 1, IndyCar, IMSA, Formula 2, 3, the list goes on and on of road course series. I don't think if NASCAR is one of those, I'd say 5 road courses. 5 road courses is good. I love to see them race at road courses, though. There's entertaining races. Road America. That was probably my favorite road course to watch. Circuit of the Americas. Now, I think that can be a great place. Let's be honest, the rain kind of ruined it. Gave the win to Chase Elliott there. I thought Kyle Larson would have something for him. I think if that rain didn't come out, Kyle Larson might have been at 10 wins by now. We can, imagine all we want, but Circuit of the Americas might be a good one. I've always loved Watkins Glen and Sonoma. Maybe throw in one more road course. I think Indy road course could be pretty good if it wasn't breaking, and I'd say the Roval's better. I think 5 road courses. Watkins Glen, Sonoma, the Roval, Circuit of the Americas, and finally, Road America. Those are the tracks that I want to see on the schedule, those 5 road courses. I'm not a huge fan of road courses, like I said. I like ovals better. It's not that I'm not a fan, but I do like ovals better. But I'm excited to see that they do have a couple road courses on the schedule. I'd like to see those 5. Indy road course and Daytona road course aren't great, so I wouldn't really mind if they were removed from the schedule. But finally, super speedways. The final thing that I think NASCAR really wants, and they're trying to turn mile and a halves into, super speedways are awesome. I mean, it's really close racing. A lot of people say that they're no talent races, but sure, a lot of drivers you wouldn't expect to win them a lot. Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, David Reagan won a lot of them. But then you have drivers like Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski. The legends come out at these types of tracks. Dale Sr., Dale Jr. Doesn't matter, you'll always find a really good race car driver that's good anywhere competing in the front at super speedways. I think that it takes a lot of talent. I am an iRacer, and I enjoy racing there. It's hard. Chances are you're going to get wrecked, but not plowing into the front of the car in front of you while not getting plowed into by the guy behind you is hard. So I think it takes a lot of talent, and I think that they have their place on the schedule. If I'm going to be honest, I'd say 6 super speedways. I mean, it's what they're going to have, right? 2 Atlanta races, 2 Talladega races, 2 Daytona races. I think that's perfect. Of course, I don't want to see, 36 super speedway races. I don't want to see that. But I do think that they have a bigger home at NASCAR, on NASCAR's schedule than road courses. Finally, mile and a halves. I already talked about them. They have their home, but I do think they're losing their grip on NASCAR. Finally, to wrap it up, I just want to say I'm excited for Martinsville. I will be doing probably more of a recap video on that one. My Texas race was not really a recap. It was more of just talking about kind of what took place, but more point standings and such. This one was talking about kind of the future of NASCAR, where the drivers are at, and if Kansas is a good track. I didn't really give you a play-by-play. And that's what I think I want this channel to be more of. Not play-by-plays, but just more talking about the future of NASCAR, what's going on the tracks. There's channels like Black Flags Matter that talk about really the history of NASCAR. And then there's the Iceberg that covers a lot of topics. And then Erica Stepp, who just kind of covers the latest news and does race recaps, from what I can tell. But I just kind of want to discuss tracks and maybe eventually moves from drivers to different organizations. But I think I will be doing a lot of race recaps. I think that's the main area of this channel. I'm working on stop motion. It's really close to being finished. They are coming to the white flag at this point. It's taken me a little while. I've had a lot of schoolwork to do. But I think during the summertime I'll do a lot of stop motion. But right now I'm looking to have maybe like a 10 race schedule, 8 race schedule for my stop motion series. I'm looking forward to that coming out, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be making a race on Martinsville. Hope you guys enjoyed.